Okay, imagine this. What if you could prove you have enough money for a purchase without ever revealing your actual bank balance? Or prove you're old enough to get into a club without ever showing your driver's license? Well, in 2026, that's not some far-off science fiction concept, it's the reality. And it's being powered by something called zero-knowledge proofs. It's quietly becoming the absolute backbone of our digital world. So the big question is, how does this magic actually work? Let's break it all down.
So, this is the multi-billion-dollar question, right? How do you pull this off? The best analogy I've ever heard is the "Where's Waldo" one. Imagine you found Waldo in one of those giant pictures. You want to prove it to your friend, but you don't want to give away his location. So what do? You take a huge piece of cardboard, cut a tiny Waldo-sized hole in it, and place it right over him. Your friend can look through the hole, see Waldo, and be totally convinced. But they learn absolutely nothing else about the rest of the picture. That, right there, is the core promise of this entire technology. Now, for a ZKP to be legit, it has to follow 3 ironclad rules. First, there's completeness. That just means if your statement is true, the proof will always work. Second, you've got soundness. This is crucial. It means if you're lying, you absolutely cannot fake a proof to trick the system. And finally, the star of the show, zero knowledge. This means the verifier learns nothing, and I mean nothing, other than the single fact that your statement is true. That's it.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the tech at the heart of it all, SNARKs and STARKs. Then we'll see how that tech is fueling a massive battle for the future of blockchains. After that, we'll look at the hardware that's making this all possible, how it's completely changing digital identity, and finally, we'll get to the crazy breakthroughs that are making this whole revolution, well, invisible.
Let's start with the 2 heavyweights in the ZK ring, SNARKs and STARKs. Seriously, understanding the difference between these two is the key to understanding where this entire industry is going.
You know, every single ZK system really just boils down to this simple little dance. You've got a prover, and they have the secret. The technical term is the witness. They use that secret to generate this tiny, super clever piece of math, the proof. They send only the proof over to a verifier. The verifier just runs a quick check on it, and if it passes, they're 100% convinced the prover's original statement was true, all without ever seeing the secret itself.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because it's all about trade-offs. Look at SNARKs. Their proofs are incredibly small, and that's a huge deal on blockchains where every single byte of data costs you real money. But there's a catch. They've historically required what's called a trusted setup. It's this one-time ceremony, and if the secrets from that ceremony ever leaked, the whole system could be compromised. STARKs, on the other hand, are totally transparent. No trusted setup needed. Plus, they're quantum resistant, which is a big deal for future proofing. The trade-off, their proof sizes are way bigger. And the performance difference can be just staggering. For some specific jobs, SNARKs can crank out their proofs up to 68 times faster. It's this constant tug of war between size, speed, security, and trust that is driving all the incredible innovation in this space.
So how does all this technical stuff actually play out in the real world? Well, in 2026, it's not just some academic debate. It is at the very heart of a full-blown war for the future of Ethereum. And spoiler alert, ZK rollups are taking a decisive lead.
You see, for years, optimistic rollups were the main solution. Their whole philosophy is assume everyone's honest but verify. They just assume transactions are valid unless someone challenges them. The problem? That challenge process means you have to wait 7 days to get your money out. 7 days. ZK rollups just flip the whole thing on its head. They use pure math to prove everything is valid right from the start. And that means your transaction is final instantly. This is an absolute game changer for anyone who values their time and money.
Leading the ZK charge is ZK Sync Era. They decided to focus on raw performance and groundbreaking features like account abstraction. Now that sounds complicated, but it's not. All it means is you can finally use things like your phone's Face ID as your crypto password. No more writing down those crazy long seed phrases. It just makes the whole experience feel seamless.
Then you have StarkNet, the high-performance beast. It's built on STARKs, so it has that quantum security we talked about, and it uses its own custom language called Cairo. This thing is built for massive scale. We're talking complex video games, high-frequency trading, the really heavy-duty applications. It is, by far, the most battle-tested ZK stack out there today.
And of course, you can't ignore Scroll and Linea. Their strategy is brilliant in its simplicity. Just be as close to Ethereum as possible. They're EVM equivalent. Think of it like this. They speak Ethereum's native language fluently. This means thousands of existing apps can just copy and paste their code right over. The amount of friction is basically zero, which is a huge draw for developers.
And this whole idea is perfectly captured by this spectrum from Ethereum's founder, Vitalik Buterin. It's really a sliding scale. On one end, you have type 1, which is a perfect one-to-one mirror of Ethereum. That's amazing for compatibility, but it's super expensive and slow to generate proofs. On the other end, you have type 4, like ZK Sync, which says, let's prioritize being fast and cheap, even if it's not a perfect match. Most projects, like Scroll and Linea, are trying to find that sweet spot right in the middle.
So what really unlocked this ZK takeover? What was the big catalyst? Well, a huge part of the answer isn't just in the software. It's in a quiet revolution that's been happening in hardware. For the longest time, the single biggest hurdle for ZK was just how incredibly slow and expensive it was to create these proofs. But look at this. In just 2 years, proof generation times have absolutely collapsed by up to 90%. What used to take several minutes now takes just a few seconds. This massive leap happened because the entire industry basically shifted gears. The question wasn't, can we make ZK work anymore? The question became, how ridiculously fast can we make it go? This led to a boom in hardware acceleration, using the same kinds of powerful GPUs you'd find in a high-end gaming PC, and even brand new, specialized chips built for one purpose and one purpose only, generating ZK proofs at lightning speed.
So, with the technology now practical and fast, one of its most powerful uses is finally here. And it's right at the intersection of privacy and regulation, our own digital identity.
This has always been the great paradox of the internet age, hasn't it? Your bank or any service needs to verify who you are to comply with the law, but at the same time, you don't want to just hand over your entire life story to every company you interact with. How do you possibly solve for both? Well, ZKPs provide this incredibly elegant solution. For banks, it means they can run all their required identity checks, all that KYC and AML stuff, without actually having to store your most sensitive personal data on their servers. And for us, for society, it means we can finally build things like truly secure, private, and anonymous voting systems. It is the key to balancing necessary rules with our fundamental right to privacy. So where does this all lead? What's next? Well, we're now at a really exciting stage where ZK technology is making breakthroughs possible that were just pure theory a few years ago. And the most exciting one of all, the real showstopper in 2026, is something called ZKML. That's Zero Knowledge Machine Learning. This is a massive, massive deal that merges the world of artificial intelligence with the world of verifiable math. Okay, try to wrap your head around this. Imagine you have a super powerful AI, maybe a medical tool, that diagnoses diseases. With ZKML, you can prove that the AI gave you a specific result and that it used the correct model, all without revealing the secret multi-million-dollar model itself. It's like getting a cryptographic receipt for an AI's work. It finally allows us to trust the output of AI on a blockchain without forcing companies to give away their secret sauce.
And that really brings us to the ultimate goal here. The true sign that ZK technology has succeeded is when we all stop talking about it, when it just becomes the invisible, trust-minimizing plumbing that powers our digital lives, from banking to social media, without any of us even knowing that it's there.
The ZK revolution is happening as we speak. There are dozens of brilliant teams pushing the absolute limits of what's possible. The competition is fierce, the pace of innovation is just relentless, and the only real question left is, which project's vision for the future are you most excited about?